All right, imagine you're a 10-year-old girl in Tanzania. You wake up every day, you have no water, you have no food. You're responsible to go get water, usually a couple miles away from your house. You have to walk in the hot sun, across busy roads, and oftentimes on the way to water, you're getting raped on the way there, on the way back. You know that in a few short months, when December comes up, you're going to have to participate in what's called FGM, female genital mutilation. And then as soon as that's finished, you know that you're going to be married to somebody as soon as you start menstruating. So every day you're walking to water, you're gathering food for your family, and these things happen, and then you're married to someone, and you leave your family and you leave your village and you go live somewhere else where you don't know anybody. And usually your husband is 30, 40 years older than you. So you're just a child, he's a grown man. And that's your life every day until you have a child of your own. Usually a couple years later, you're 14, 15 years old, and now you have your own children. And same thing, you get up every day, you figure out what to do for food, you go make maybe $1 a day out in the fields or in gravel mines, wherever you can find an income. And you just have baby after baby with this man who's 30, 40 years your senior. And you never have opportunity. You never have education. Now you don't have your family because you've been taken from them and married to someone far away. And that's the life that these women are living. I think in the United States, sometimes it's hard for us to imagine that that's actually happening. We have so many rights and so many privileges, especially as women now, right? I can go anywhere and feel confident that I would have equality, and they don't have that. And the more I've been to Tanzania and to Africa, the more I've seen that it doesn't have to be this way. We have so many resources that we can offer these women that it doesn't have to be generation after generation continuing to live this way in poverty and scarcity and just so much abuse and so much heartache for them. And so I'm Lindsay Bowen. I founded Rome Humanitarian a few years ago. We've been around 5 years, but I feel like it's been way longer. We've been in the travel industry for so many years, for over a decade. And we were taking people around the world to experience these beautiful cultures and experience all these historical sites and all these places and have so much fun. And I always wanted so much to get in people's homes and get in their communities and help them and find out what made them tick and find out what their pain points were in their life. And so when Rome came to me in my mind, I just thought, I am going to figure out a way to take these families with us, to have these really beautiful cultural, historical experiences where they check all the boxes, but most importantly, we make an impact and we go places that need us and we find the people that we can help the most. Rome doesn't believe in giving handouts. We really believe in helping empower people to help themselves. So one thing that we've found that has worked so well for us is partner with other NGOs who are specialists in their field. So we get the luxury and the beautiful opportunity of going into these villages around the world and finding what are your needs. Is it vision? Do we need to partner with Charity Vision and help you get cataract surgery? Is it education? Do we need to bring in those resources? Do you need water? All these different things and all these different organizations we've been able to partner with. So one of the best ones that has come to us is the need for water. That's pretty universal. Clean water is a huge need. And so we partnered with Water for Life charity. How many years ago? 3 years ago?
It's at least 3 years, yeah.
Yeah. And we started bringing their water filters around the world. And that has served as such a huge resource for these people who need clean water. And it's kind of like if we can't put a well in somewhere, because a well is kind of the ultimate opportunity for them to have access to clean drinking water, right? Mm-hmm. So if we can't do that financially, or the ground's not right, the survey didn't work out.
Too much fluoride in the ground.
Yeah,
there's
the
all kinds of
fluoride.
problems that can exist.
Yeah, so many variables. So water filters have been huge for us because they're inexpensive and they can clean the water for these people who don't have access to clean water. So that's been one organization we worked with that has been a game changer for us in getting clean water to people.
So Lindsay, back up for just a second, because You went through a lot of information really fast, and I
Yeah.
want people to really understand the scope of what you just described. You've described a problem that is so huge in Tanzania, and for those of the laymen listening, it's Tanzania to most Americans.
Yeah, yeah.
Locally, Tanzania, and you discovered on a trip that you were bringing these groups over to provide humanitarian service, and then you discovered what? Like, how did you even stumble upon FGM? Because it's something I had never really heard about until I heard about your Rome trips. Why is this happening? Like, why does that culturally exist in their cultures? And what do we need to know about this? Because it doesn't seem logical to us in our world. Why would this even make sense? And why would they not just run away?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's still happening, and it's actually illegal in these countries. And so if you were to ask your safari guide, you tell me about FGM, he would say, "Oh, we used to do that. We don't do that anymore. No, nobody does that," because they don't want us to know that it's happening. And they don't even want their government to know what's happening, right? Everybody knows. It's kind of that thing that everyone turns their blind eye to. They know it's happening, but no one's fighting it. And so it's very, very cultural, and they believe that it has gone back generations, and it's began, with their forefathers. But the truth is it was introduced only like 3 or 4 generations ago. So it hasn't gone back hundreds of years like many of these chiefs believe. And so the answer to the question is it's cultural. And even though they do it, the women and girls are fighting so hard for a resource to not have to continue this tradition. So it's just hard. The only way I can kind of explain it to roamers when they come on our trips is a lot of us circumcise our children in the United States, right? Like, we don't really ask questions. We just do it because that's what all our neighbors do, and that's what we do in our family. And so it's like that. They do it because everybody else is doing it. But there's huge repercussions for them if they don't participate. They'll be ostracized from their community. There'll be a reason, now you didn't get FGM as a young girl, so you're going to get raped as a punishment. There's all these things that are happening where there's like this friction in the culture. So they got young girls and these young mothers who are still girls themselves, right? They're 14, 15, 16 years old with these young girls.
Right.
And they are looking for a resource to help them, but there's no resources. They have no education. They have nowhere to go. And so we are trying, and we're moving very quickly to give them resources.
So you discovered this problem. You discovered that while you were there maybe fulfilling another service, like providing water and clean water and all these other things, you discovered this other problem that you were going, okay, holy cow.
Yeah.
How can we even put a dent in this? And then you approached people like James and his NGO, his nonprofit, and what he's doing. How did that affect you, James, when you heard about this problem and you were already supplying water filtration services and helping solve one problem, and you heard about this other problem? How did that affect you?
Well, it just gave us a lot more vigor on our desire to provide water solutions, because water is the cornerstone in some of these countries. It relies on the women and children to produce all of the water. So the men go off and do their thing, but every single day, like Lindsay was saying, the young women will carry a 40-pound jerry can, approximately 3.7 miles. That's the average time. Over 200 million hours of time is spent by women and children gathering water.
Crazy.
And we felt like with the water filters that Lindsay was talking about, we could provide a solution where they can be in their homes and they can have independence, if you will, so that they have water that's clean, because oftentimes they'll go to these wells and boreholes, they'll come back with dirty water. So then they've got to boil it, and then they've got their home full of smoke, and then it's wasting resources. So there's all these things that compile against a young kid in a developing country that don't allow them to get their education, to get a job, to be able to be productive in society. And in the FGM part of it, even in that time of the year, it only happens in December. But if there are alternate solutions for them to have independence, we want to provide that.
Okay, so what did you do? I mean, where did you think you could help with your nonprofit to help her nonprofit solve a bigger problem? I mean, water is a huge problem. Don't get me wrong. Water is a massive problem. but this ostrich, and what's happening to these women is so sad. How did you guys decide, okay, what can we do together to not only provide clean water, but also solve this other problem?
So that is exactly like what Lindsay was talking about, is that the water filters are a bridge until we can build a well or we can drill a well in an area. Water filters provide that independence, like I was talking about, for a family to be able to have more security. And when you talk about them running away, there's just really no place to run to, right? So they can have their home. There's no other resources for them to get away from. So oftentimes they live miles and miles away from a city or their schools or anything else. So water, if we can provide a solution to help them have independence, health, because all these restrictions just lead into that cause of the FGM issue.
Right.
And by giving them some independence, by giving them resources to keep them safe and healthy, they're not reliant on the tribe possibly, and they can figure out ways to get out of this. And that's what Lindsay's been able to do with her organization, is to provide other resources that allow these young women and children opportunities to have some independence and some hope of getting out of these difficult circumstances.
So James, you felt this new passion about the way you were helping Rome fulfill water issues, and I've been with you in social scenarios. You talk about Water for Life everywhere you go, which I love. I rarely been with you where you haven't brought up Water for Life. And you meet Brig. And Brig, tell us who you are, and what did James tell you when you guys first met that kind of triggered your response?
Yeah, my name is Brig Christensen, and I am the CEO and founder of Stormwater Pros. Stormwater Pros was started in the greater Phoenix, Arizona area and has expanded into Utah, into Southern California. We get involved in water conservation, and one of our services that we provide is providing dry wells and infiltration wells that capture stormwater and infiltrate stormwater back into the ground to replenish groundwater tables that fuels community growth, in particular in the southwestern United States. But James and I, we had a unique meeting. He happened to be working with my neighbor to do a backyard concert in the summertime, and I decided that I was going to attend. It looked like it was going to be a fun event with people there, just not knowing exactly what was going to happen, who I would possibly meet. But James happened to have a little booth set up with his shade cover promoting his company, and James and I just started talking about what we did, and I'm involved in water conservation, and he told me about the water conservation efforts that he was involved in around the world. And at Stormwater Pros, I wanted to get our company involved in greater efforts around the world to help with this water issue that you're talking about that affects, 2 billion plus people in the world. And so we had conversations about how we could interact and how our businesses could work together and how we could help get involved in this global water conservation efforts.
So you're nerding out about water.
Yes, totally.
And in that conversation, you're rocking out, nerding out about water. And then as you start to learn about the water like your opportunity to be able to participate with him in serving someone outside of our ecosystem must have been exciting. And then how did you hear about, like, what next step did you take with you personally and with your business that kind of led into this other awareness of FGM and the other problems?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, it just kind of took its step, one step at a time, but James and I continued conversations, and I was able to learn about Rome through James and some of the water projects that Water for Life Charities got involved with with Rome Humanitarian, and there were some opportunities to donate some money towards putting a well in at their women's center that they're building, and putting water tanks at a school that didn't have a sustainable water solution at their school. And these projects have just been fulfilling to be involved in. To see the amount of people that they impact, to see the real need of water around the world. I was able to go on one of the Rome trips to Tanzania
Awesome.
and actually witness the need of water within these communities and witness the impact of FGM and just be able to watch these women spend all of this time, trying to access water. We were in one of the villages and, we were sitting there, we were actually helping build a house, and I just watched two women leave at one time with the big, buckets of water on their head, just starting their hike for however long it's going to take to get water.
Crazy.
And it just emphasized to me the importance and the impact that water can have in these communities around the world.
So you decide to go participate in this trip primarily to help with the water conservation and water repurposing, like all those things, like you're digging wells to bring water up from the ground instead of putting water back in the ground,
Which is what our company does. Yep.
which is what your company does. But at the same time, while all this is happening, Lindsay, Rome all of a sudden takes this kind of turn in events where you were doing more of an entertainment service oriented business. Now you've got a different mission.
Yeah.
And as you saw this new mission kind of evolving, Brig just alluded to it, a women's center, schooling. Where have you gone now with Rome beyond where you thought it was at, just doing these really fun humanitarian trips?
Yeah. I think the culture has changed for me where it's not just about these one and done projects. We've always been really intentional about our projects, making sure that they empower the people we serve and the impact is as big as possible. But I think our shift has changed. Our focus has changed where now we see we can make a long-term difference for a lot of women. So we've been able to rescue a handful of women who have really laid this roadmap for us of how big of a need these women have to have an outside resource help them, just listen to them, just give them a place to go. So they would kind of wait for Rome to come back. One time I taught a menstruation class. I've taught thousands of those young girls about their bodies. And I always include in Tanzania in particular about self-defense because they are often raped. Often on the way to water is when they're getting raped. And so I teach them that they can fight back and I teach them how to fight back. And we do this in our class. And one girl left the class and she went home and told her friend, hey, did you know we could actually stand up for ourselves? Did you know we don't have to be raped? And it was the first time both of those young girls had even considered that they didn't have to be raped and that they could fight back. And so the friend had told this girl, it was Rome Humanitarian who came and taught me that. So she waited for us to come back. And when we came back, she found us and she told us, my daughter, she's 9 years old. She's going to get FGM in a couple weeks. She's going to get married in a couple months. Like somebody please help me. And that's when it shifted for me. That's when I realized if they have a resource like this women's center we're building, if they have somewhere they can go physically to get help, they will. And they need it. And they need somewhere like that, somewhere to believe in them, people to give them the resources to get on their feet, get jobs. And so I just believe so much with all of our projects, but especially when it comes to FGM and child marriage, that education is the key. So many people come in, particularly men, no problem, no shade on
We're
you
not
guys.
offended.
But they'll be like, oh, let's go kick the Chiefs' butts. Like, we're going to take care of them. And we're going to teach them that this is awful. And it's like when things are that ingrained culturally, you can't go in with force. You have to go in with education. And you have to go in empowering these women to know that they have value. And I believe wholeheartedly that that's the end of this. So if they have clean water, if they have food, solving these problems open this whole groundwork where now these women can get education. They have time to think, oh, I'm not spending my whole day walking to and from water. I could actually go to school. I could actually learn a skill. I could actually support my own family, and I don't have to get beat every single day. One of the ladies we rescued said she got beat every day. And I asked her why. What were you doing? What is it that you could have, not that it was her fault, but like help me understand.
Right.
And she said sometimes he'd just come home and beat her for no reason. If dinner wasn't right, if there wasn't enough food, if there was too little food, if the kids were crying, she got beat every single day. So I just believe that the end of this is education and empowering these women. And that's what this women's center will do. That Briggs company put the well in. So now they can come to the women's center and they can get clean water there. And then they can go back with lots of extra resources.
One of the important things to keep in mind is the sustainability. That's what makes the synergy between the three organizations work so well. The two nonprofits and a for-profit company. When you've got a for-profit company coming in and helping out with funds and human resources and their marketing department and everything else, that gives us the ability to have a lot more sustainability in these countries. So now Rome Humanitarian, with those resources and the filters that we're providing and the well funds, et cetera, it gives the ability for Rome to go there twice a year and maybe now even 3 times a year with Rise. So we'll be able to go there on an ongoing basis, have people on the ground employed through Rome, which supply opportunities for the people in these villages to have a repaired filter if it doesn't work. A lot of times we go into these countries and somebody's done a great job getting a well, but then it doesn't work. And we're like, wait, you had somebody you could call. Why did you not call? And they're like, I don't know, it just stopped working. But Rome's staff will go back out to that well. They'll figure out what's wrong with it. They'll find parts to replace, the broken pump or the, broken pipes or whatever, and keep things moving so that we're changing generational, we're having generational effect instead of it just like a one and done charity with a couple snapshots, pictures putting up on an Instagram account. So that is why this is so amazing that Stormwater Pros has stepped in and said, we want to be a long-term partner. And that's where the synergy and the sustainability and the ongoing water conservation is going to affect change. Like we know in other countries, the FGM has been able to be stopped. So there's hope that can happen. And it's these little steps that make all that possible.
And that's why we want to get involved is that we believe that water is the solution. Water has what we call a ripple down effect. Access to sustainable water will empower women. It promotes safety. It eliminates the possibility of rape that occurs, and it fuels community growth. And we want to be able to help provide these communities with these opportunities, and providing water will help this. It'll help, minimize the impacts of FGM. It'll help communities grow and develop. And
I love it.
And it's just a great cause to be a part of. And we're grateful that we found opportunities to be able to work with these companies and be able to help out.
Clearly your head is in the right place, Brig, and clearly, James, the introduction to what you were doing with your nonprofit was a godsend. As you think about this, though, Brig, about what you've been able to experience personally with your family, how is this affecting the culture of your company? And you don't have to be a water-related company to help with this stuff, right? I mean, who else have you been able to talk to about your experience and or even within your company culture? How has this affected the way people are looking at things outside of our controls?
Yeah, I've seen it affect our culture within our employees. Our employees are excited to know that our efforts and their efforts that they give forth on a day in and day out effort are going to help a good cause and that are making a difference in the world.
And are they actually contributing, or is it just the fact that they're making the company money and the company is contributing? Or how are you engaging that? Like, how does it drill into the culture of your actual employees?
Yeah, right now it's the company giving back. We are looking at opportunities for the employees to come in.
I love it.
And to be able to donate towards some of these projects. That's one of the plans that's being discussed currently.
That's a deep cultural.
Yeah.
I mean, that'll affect
and it's
a lot of
committed
layers.
resources like Briggs, director of marketing, Ryan Scott. She's organizing meetings, organizing advertising and marketing and everything that goes around this.
I love it.
And that's a dedicated piece that doesn't always directly contribute to a bottom line,
right?
But it does directly contribute to morale and giving back and a culture that is healthy.
Yeah, and we've seen that impact in our culture.
I love it.
It was fun to come back from Africa and to be able to go into the office and have so many questions and people wanting to talk about it as I explained the FGM issue in Africa, it is something that concerns many people, and it concerned many people within our organization. And the fact that we were helped, got involved in these water projects that'll help minimize those impacts of this FGM issue that's happening with the young girls out there in Africa, just brings a sense of light and happiness to the company. And
Well, you consider how much money is being raised in the U.S. to help people with hurt feelings. And we're talking about little girls walking down to get water for their family, getting raped and beat almost daily. So, Lindsay, what does it look like? Like, as you're raising money to build these community centers, how much money does it take to build out? I've seen you have a master plan, but again, this is only one city in one part of Tanzania in one country of Africa. I mean, how much should companies get involved, even outside of Stormwater Pros? Who should be getting involved with this? And
Everyone.
what do they need to participate in it?
Yeah. Well, I think that's like a double-sided coin for me, right? Because Rome has always been about the one. So I am completely at peace knowing that we changed the trajectory of one woman's life, one generation. That is broken. That cycle is broken. There's no more FGM. There's no more child marriage for them. So I think when you go into a place like Africa, you have to be okay with knowing that I will do what I can with the resources I have. And that has to be enough, because you're never going to solve, one little organization is never going to solve this entire problem.
Right.
But at the same time, I believe so much that if we have the resources available, they will come to them and they will run to them, because these women, Tanzanian women, they're no joke. Like, you give them an opportunity, they will meet and exceed every one of your expectations. So that's what I love about them. We offer sewing grants, business grants. We started a beading company to sell jewelry in the United States. We started an underwear to end period poverty. Like, all these things for these women, and you give them these little ideas and they just run. So I think for me, it's understanding that giving them opportunity is enough. That's enough. And the women who want change will find it.
So, Lindsay,
And there's a really great theme too. Is a lot of the employees that work down there for Rome, they're engaged in this too. They don't want this to keep happening.
Right.
So family members are reaching out and finding people in some of these villages that they can connect with and help. Right. That's where the
amazing.
rescues come from. It's just incredible to see that there are really, really good people on the ground as well that want this to change and want to help.
And these African women that are getting these opportunities, Lindsay alluded to it, these women are strong.
Yeah.
They are smart and they are capable, and they are running with these opportunities.
I love it.
And that's what blew me away on the trip, is the women, just how smart they are, how strong they are, and how capable they are. This
When they
isn't
pick up their sewing table and put it on their head and walk off with it.
Yeah.
or
A sewing machine and table all in one, and they're just carrying it off.
or
Well,
three.
yeah.
We saw one carry 3 cinder blocks on her head.
Yes.
Well, and physically strong is one thing, but Lindsay, one of the things that I love about learning about how you're helping these women is that you're actually teaching that they qualify, that they apply themselves before they get the grant money, before they get the sewing machine, before they get the opportunity. They actually have to earn it and learn it. And that's different than a lot of nonprofits. A lot of them just literally just dump money on people and say, hope this helps you feel better.
Yeah.
So a lot of people out there are wondering, and a lot of companies are like Brig, trying to figure out, how do I give back to anything at all? And they want to know, like, if I donate $10,000, $50,000, $100,000 each year to this charity, how far does that go? Like, where does that actually mean?
Well, in regards to water, let's start there with water, right? So you can drill a well for $5,000 to $10,000, depending on the soil, depending on how many rocks are there. There's variables, but $5,000 to $10,000 will get you a well for a village that can service up to 2,500 people.
2,500 people.
Yeah, and
With one well.
and every single one of those wells is now a safe place for these girls to get water, a safe place for these girls to be able to come get water and still go to school. So it changes the trajectory of their lives to be able to have this closer access to clean drinking water.
That's crazy. And to bring that home just a little bit, like I've got a lot in Heber City that's going to cost me about $90,000 to drill a well, and that will supply my family. Granted, we're not quite 2,500 people. We're only 9 people, but that is a lot of help.
Yeah.
So for $5,000 to $10,000, you could supply 2,500 people with water
Yep.
for multiple years.
Yeah. And what we also do with Rome and Water for Life is they have to give us their plan. A lot of times other corporations will come in and just drill. They'll drill boreholes everywhere, right? And then they leave and no one has ownership of them. Nobody knows how to fix them. If it breaks, it's kind of like, it's not my problem. I'll just walk 2 miles that way to get dirty water because this well broke. So the
Crazy.
cool thing what Rome does is we do have employees there in the country that go back and check on the well, make sure it's functioning. And the people that get it, oftentimes we focus on schools and community centers to put wells there. They have to tell us, how are you going to maintain it? Because this pump will break. You know,
Right.
it's going to break in 3, 4, or 5 years. You need to tell us how you're going to maintain it. And they'll come up with ideas. I love because we could go in and tell them exactly what to do.
Right.
Okay, you need to do this, this, and this. And the principals or whoever it is will be like, well, we could charge 50 cents more per family for school fees. And then we do the math and we're like, yeah, so in 2 years, you'll have enough to buy a new pump.
Right.
And they're like, yeah. And they're coming up with these ideas by themselves where they have total ownership over that well now. They
So
know
thi-
it's theirs.
So this is a really big change than what a lot of people imagine is going on with money they donate to Africa. I mean, we've been, I'm 50 years old, and from the time I was like 5 years old, I remember hearing, send money to Africa, send money to Africa, and we then learned later how it was not spent very well.
Yeah.
And it didn't affect as much change as anyone had hoped. What you're describing to me sounds magical. I mean, it sounds almost too good to be true. The money comes in, you supply them with water, which means they don't need to go walk 3 miles, which means they get to stay in the village. They get to actually learn skills, learn how to run a business. You talked a little bit about the scholarship program. As people come to get their education, they need to have a place to meet to learn these things. What does it cost for you to put up these women's centers? What does it cost for, how many women could you scholarship for $10,000? How many families does that feed and supply with education?
Well, as a frame of reference, many of the women, when we interview, let's say we have 25 women who are part of our jewelry company. And we interviewed every single one of them, asked them what their pain points were, what are your dreams, how much money do you currently make? And many of them were $15 to $30 a month is what they were making to bring in for their family. So where they're now making $7 to $10 an item that we sell here in the United States, it's like mind-blowing to them that they actually can do this for themselves. So a sewing grant is $175. So now these women, you can buy them a sewing machine. We bring a lot of the fabric from the United States as donations, so that's not included in the 175. But there's so many smaller numbers that it's manageable for anybody. And that's what I wanted. I wanted it to be like, you're a company, this will change the culture of your company. And it's $10,000 a year to drill a well for 2,500 people. And now you have a sustainable product for your company to know that you
amazing.
believe in impact, or you're a single person and you want to help. $175 will get another woman a business in Africa. So I wanted it to feel like it's bite-sized for anybody, any size. But I think the impact on us giving is huge and almost as big as the impact that we have on the people that we're serving.
Well, you're serving them and you're employing them, which is also another act of service. Brig, when you hear these rates of what they're paying their employees and what they're earning and how much impact that can have, just having a human on the ground helping to distribute all the good things they're doing, as a business owner, as a for-profit guy, as someone who's building and scaling your own business, what does that inspire within you that you want to pass to other companies, this torch of like, come join me? Like, what is your call to other people?
Yeah, our call is to employees to come and join us and be a part of a company that is doing good around the world. but also a call to our clients, our customers, our partners to join us in these efforts as well, and be able to have a huge impact for not a whole lot of money.
Right.
You referenced, a well going in at your property that was 90,000, that was just sustaining just your family.
Just my family.
For $10,000 or less, we're doing wells
It's amazing.
that are impacting 2,500 people or so. And so my call is to our clients, our customers to join us and be a part of this, and help this global water sustainability issue. And let's make an impact together, and let's make a difference, and let's impact lives.
I love it. James, you talked earlier about these women not having a place to run to. You've seen what Lindsay's building over there. What is the place they have to run to now?
So they have a really beautiful women's center that's going to have a lot of different resources. One, there's going to be a well there that we've already talked about. And when we were drilling the well and when the water was coming out, I think there were probably like, I don't know, 5 or 6 different people at different times that came by and said, "What are you guys doing?" And Lindsay was like, "Oh, we're drilling a well. And like here soon you'll be able to have access to clean water and won't have to walk as far to get it." And the woman couldn't believe it. She was just like awestruck that there was going to be a spot close to her, and it's on a really main thoroughfare. So they're able to have buses come in and drop people off during that FGM time of the year, and drop off women and children who want to have protection, mothers who want to protect their kids. They'll get their water there. They can have some medical help. They can have some education. They'll be teaching English. I mean, there's so many cool things that will be surrounding this women's center. And water's just the kind of the cornerstone of it, right? I mean, technically you can go 30 days without eating, but you can't go more than 3 days without water.
Right.
The other part is if they're healthy, they're way more apt to be able to make it to the women's center. If they've got clean water and they don't have a disease, they don't have, because you can get malaria, cholera,
Totally.
dysentery, E. coli, and the filters that we provide will get rid of 99.9% of the bacteria.
Amazing.
Waterborne diseases, which have, I think 80% of the diseases in Africa are waterborne. So most
crazy.
developing countries need these kind of solutions, like Briggs said, to provide security. And I think that's one of the coolest aspects of this.
It's definitely not the first thing you think of when you think, I'm going to go help dig a well in this country. You don't think about the safety of these girls and these women. Lindsay, how many women can you help in what you're building now? And how many more buildings do you need to build to be able to help all the women in, say, a 20-mile, maybe a 50-mile radius?
Yeah, I think that this Women's Center is a framework for many to come, maybe even on a smaller scale. But I do feel like having a physical space that they can come to is so important. A lot of NGOs come and go, and we're the same, right? We're not there. I'm not there all the time distributing Water for Life's water filters. So to have somewhere they can come, it really will be a living, breathing place where there won't be like a number that this is exactly how many we can serve, but it will very much meet their needs. So if they want to come get a water filter or a meal, they can do that. If they want us to help them start a new life with a new business and get them out of their abusive situation, they were almost killed or whatever it was, then we will do that. But I very much have sat down with women who don't see that they could actually change their circumstances. So here's a water filter, here's a menstruation kit, here's the things you need to go on your way and have a little bit better life and quality there. But if you come to us and you want to change, we will, with fire like under us,
Right.
help you change your life, and that's a smaller amount, right? Like
Right.
many women will come through these doors, but there's this handful that want to change their country, want to change their life, and want to change their kids' lives. And those are the women that I'm really, really rooting for, you
I
know?
love it.
Lindsay, when I was out in Africa, I saw the importance of having a place for these women to go. Mm-hmm. Explain to us your experience of what has happened to these women when they don't have a place to go, but they want out. What
Yeah.
is some of the consequences that you've seen these women go through?
So I feel like I have two really good examples. We've helped a lot of women, but one woman came to me in November, so just 6 months ago, and she wanted help. Her daughter was about to get FGM, married. She had no say over her daughter's, path. It was all up to her husband. And so we helped her and we rescued her in the night. And now she has her own business. She has her own shop. She's thriving. We're helping her learn how to budget her money. We have an apartment that she's almost ready to start paying for on her own. Her children are in a really great school. Her daughter didn't get FGM. Her daughter didn't get married. Now we just went back and took them to see giraffes in their own country, which they don't get to do, which is crazy to us as Americans to
Right.
think that Africans don't see an elephant in their entire lifetime. They don't. And so I just remember standing there and she's by these giraffes, like she is having a childhood. That is priceless. There's no price on that, right?
Yeah.
Now she's living the way a child should. And then there's people like my friend Senyati who came to us, same thing. She needed help. She'd been beat very, very badly after she hid her daughter in a coal barn. Her daughter was 10 years old. She hid her the whole month of December because that's when it's called cutting season. That's when they cut these girls.
Ugh.
And
Disgusting.
so she didn't want her daughter to get it. So every day she brought her one meal a day while her 10-year-old just sat in this dark coal barn by herself for a whole month. When she came out, the dad found out that she hadn't been, with the girls getting FGM because they leave the village to do it in an undisclosed location because it is illegal, it is hidden, and it is underground. So the dad found out. He threw the mom, Senyati, in the fire and beat her really, really badly. And we rescued her and took her to the ICU. And she was there for 3 weeks and she didn't make it. She passed away in ICU. We had her 3 children. We put them in a really, really good boarding school, and she didn't make it. And I feel like she was waiting for Rome, right? Or somebody. I just say Rome because that's what they know. We're not these saviors, but that's what they knew, and that's who she believed would help her. And we didn't get there in time. We didn't have a place for her to go. And that's what a women's center will do. It'll be a place for these women who know this is truly life or death. And here's a space that will help you. So I think of all these women's centers like, this is for Senyati. This is for the women that can't get away in time. This is the women that aren't with us anymore. And
I love it. And your social media highlights a lot of these stories. My wife and I were going through them just the other day and literally just crying as we were hearing these stories of these poor women and what they're going through. And these little girls, I have 3 daughters and I can't imagine. It makes me angry, and it makes a lot of people angry, and they want to help. So as people want to help, Lindsay, I know that what started off as almost like an adventure series, that you were bringing people on these adventures to experience some of the beauties of the lands you go to and helping solve some problems in the lands you go to. And it was very, let's go do this service project type thing. Mm-hmm. Now you're embarking on something very different. And with what you're doing now, we talked about companies contributing money. We've talked about individual families going and doing this together. What are other ways that you are opening this opportunity up for people to help engage? Because you need boots on the ground with the service projects. You need money. Like, talk to us. So what is your ideal scenario for someone watching this?
Brig.
More Briggs?
Truly business owners who want to change the culture of their own company. So they have this idea to bring this culture, right, of humanitarian work and impact. But with that becomes sustainability. So it's really hard to have long-term projects as an NGO
Right.
when you don't know what money's coming in. You don't know what donor is going to be here next year or 2 weeks from now. And so when you have companies commit to I believe in this. I believe in this project and I want to be a part of it. A partnership changes things because now I can build something and know next year we're going to have these sponsors. These partners are consistent. They're going to help us make this happen. But I think one thing about Rome that I'm actually really, really proud of is that you don't just write a check. You can. I will happily take it. I will never turn down a check. But you get to come. If you want to see what your money is doing, you get to come and you get to participate. You can bring your kids, you can bring your employees, you can send 1 or 2 a year, you can bring your whole company. And you can come and really participate in where your dollars are going and see it with your own eyes. That's been some major feedback from people like Brig, other CEOs who they've been writing checks to charities for years. They just sign it at tax time and they're like, these ones look good. These are great. And it's different when it becomes part of your culture.
So we're talking manpower.
And I just have to testify of that is I've had the opportunity to do exactly what Lindsay is talking about.
Yeah.
We, in our first year, we donated money for a water well. And in the second year, we donated some money for some water tanks. And I was able to do exactly that. I was able to go on these trips and I was actually able to see where the money went and, and the good that it is doing and performing.
Right.
And
You guys got to do water tanks and filters. So you got to help assemble the filters and hand them out to people, which is like, I mean, it's priceless. You're like right in the middle of the culture, handing and helping out the filters.
Yeah, it was awesome. We worked with Water for Life charity. We took filters on the trip, and each day had the opportunity to assemble filters and hand them out.
I love it.
And it was amazing to see the crowds of women that came and wanted those and desired those water filters. And it was really hard because each time we didn't have enough water filters to give.
Right, you never do you?
For all the demand. But Lindsay's husband, Justin, had a talk with me and helped me understand that, you know, we would give approximately 50 filters out to a tribe each day. And he said to focus on the 50 individuals that are now impacted and not those that are not impacted. And so that was a tremendous experience. And then to be able to see the water tanks at the children's school, to see the water well that went in at the women's center, that's what makes this effort a little bit different, like Lindsay's talking about. Like, if you want to go on this trip and you want to participate and serve along with what they're doing, you can be an active part in what you're donating. You're donating towards.
And James, you know, as a partner in this, you know, you've had your own charity going for longer than I think Rome's been doing their trips. Mm-hmm. How has this impacted your ability to distribute the goodwill that you've created in your water filters? And how would you encourage other nonprofits who are building cool products that could help in the same effort to get involved?
So I think one of the main concerns for people is that charities, sometimes you just don't know where the money's going.
Right.
And I think this conversation has kind of alluded to the fact that we're able to see exactly where the donations go.
Right.
And then the people who are taking there actually go out and train and teach people how to use them. It's the sustainability factor, right? So I think that's probably the most important thing. And the other thing is that both organizations run very lean. So like I'm not employed by the organization. We have some very low overhead costs. And so most of the dollars donated, up towards 98%, go straight to water filters, wells, or tanks.
Wow.
And with
that's
Rome,
not sustainable for most nonprofits though.
Right. It's definitely true. And we've been able to build a model where we work with organizations like Rome because they've got boots on the ground and they're able to replace components or train or teach people or bring more filters, et cetera. Right. They work with local people, even the people drilling the rigs locally. They are able to go out and use teams that are from Africa. So they go out and one of the main guys will go to a tribe leader and say, we want to bring a well here and you need to pay for half of it. So how long will it take you to accomplish that? So just continued sustainability and investment from the people, as like Lindsay talked about.
I love it.
I think one thing that stood out to me when we were distributing your filters, we were in Nepal and we went to a school and we were doing the filters with all the families. And the teacher was like, I have one of these. And
really?
she ran in the classroom, brought out this bucket that was pretty similar to your filters. And she's like, someone dropped it off. I never knew what it was. I never knew how to use it.
Oh my
and
gosh.
I realized that what Rome does is we go and teach. And that it just, you'll hear me say it every time. It's education, but we take the filters out and we teach them how to use them. We teach them how to backflow so that they don't get clogged and so they work efficiently. And so I think that's something that works so well with us, is that we take the people across the world to these countries and and teach the locals how to use your product.
Yeah.
Right?
It may seem intuitive to us, but it's not intuitive to them.
Yeah.
And sometimes when the filter stops working and they don't know how to back flush it, I mean, for the training part of it, like even when we went to Fiji, we had this whole training procedure and developed it there, and then
Right.
started teaching all the roamers when they go to all these other countries. And we've created a video that teaches them how to use the filter, how to back flush it, and it'll last over 100,000 gallons. Like
Wow.
it'll get rid of all that bacteria,
Wow.
and it'll last a family a lifetime.
Obviously, Water for Life is a big partner of yours, but I've also known other people with trades who have been able to partner with you, dentists, optometrists. Like, how did those people get involved in a Rome trip, or why should they?
Yeah, it makes me smile because it really makes me so happy. We don't know who's going to sign up on most trips. So it's kind of this wild card of like, okay, well, these are our projects. And then we'll have someone say, hey, I'm a dentist. Or we have done some private trips like Mint Construction. They were all construction workers. And so we went and we worked
Awesome.
on that women's center. And
Awesome.
we had major construction projects for them. But yeah, so when a dentist comes and they say their skill, oh man, we will just put them right to work. So it's been really fun. The dentists, especially because we can do, so many of the people need just simple extractions, right?
Yeah.
They're in so much pain. And so we'll do tooth extractions right there under a tree on a plastic chair, and
the
they'll just
middle
be
of the
lined
desert.
up. Yeah.
I love it.
And so it's really cool for people to be able to make it personal. I love that about Rome, that it can be so personal to you and what your skills are. And we're doing different projects every day, and so when we leave, we hire the people to finish up what we're doing. And after the trip, you get a million photos of all of our projects being finished up. But while we're on the trip, we try to really use people's talents and skills because they need them, and we want on this site by the Women's Center to have a clinic where we can have dentists come and doctors come and really use their expertise to help people.
I love it. At the end of the day, it sounds like there's three main things you really need. You need businesses who need opportunities to unite and kind of build a culture of giving, build a culture of thinking about other people other than themselves. Mm-hmm. You need boots on the ground, and preferably in the form of a family, because there's nothing more impactful than leaving that mark on a family. And you also need skills. You need other partners to help contribute. In addition to funds, what can you be giving in these women's centers to the people that are there? And so what's your invite? Like, what does an invite look like from you to ask for these things? Because asking is telling us, what do you need? So what do you need, Lindsay, to keep this moving forward?
I need people who want to help make an impact. So if you want to use your skills in real life in these countries, come and we will make that happen. If you want to write a check and use your resources, do that. I want Rome to feel personal to you. I think that is something I've put a lot of intention toward, that people can create this culture even within their own families of we're a family that gives, and this is how we give.
Yeah.
We go on a humanitarian trip every year. We give $20 a month because we know that buys a woman's diapers, for her children. And so it's personal, but if you want to help, Rome is a place that you can. And you can come with your own skill set and your own parameters of what that looks like for you. And we want to make it happen for you.
I love it. Any last thoughts from either of you?
I would just say I agree with what Lindsay's saying, is that if you create a culture of giving back and then picking the right organization to give back to, right? And just partner with organizations that you know are socially responsible, they're efficient, they have sustainability measures, they have boots on the ground. I mean, just things like that make a difference. Will bless you and your family, because I think here in America we have a mentality of constant and personal enrichment.
Yeah.
Where we have so much opportunity to enrich the lives of other people. And that's what I feel like this group does, is we're really concentrated on giving back and sustaining life in other places that otherwise won't be able to be sustained.
I love it.
And I'll just add, as a perspective from the for-profit corporate world, these are the right organizations to work with.
Love it.
They're doing it right. They're choosing the right projects that have long-lasting, sustainable solutions to help people around the world. And these are the right people and the right organizations.
I love it. So, James, looking at how you've been able to help Brig get involved in both your projects and Lindsay's, what is the best entry point to become part of what you're doing?
So I think the most important thing is for, again, like we talked about a little bit, is to create a culture of giving back, right? And then for our organization and for Rome's, just like we've created plaques, we've created videos, and we're going to continue to create other assets that will help organizations like Briggs to be able to show their employees that the work that they're putting in, the funds that they're contributing are going somewhere good. Right. And so, Brig, maybe you can explain to us a little bit about how that's translated into the corporate culture. I know we've touched on it just a little bit, but we've tried to create this really cool environment where a lot of videos, a lot of pictures, a lot of assets, like I've mentioned, go back to the company and educate them on what you're doing. So it's not just something that is a nebulous thing to them.
Yeah. Our culture that we're going to create is from these trips that we've been on and through these projects that we've gotten involved with, Water for Life and Rome, is we're taking this information back and showing it to our employees. We're showing them the plaques, we're showing them the videos, and that's helping develop this positive culture of giving back, and that there is a greater good beyond only ourselves that we can participate in. And we are working on developing that within our culture, and we would like other partners, we would like other customers, other clients of ours to get involved in this as well, so that they can create this culture within their organization and they can participate in these projects with us. And if they are willing to, we are creating an account with Water for Life Charities. If you donate through Stormwater Pros directly to Water for Life Charities, that will go into an account that will be reserved for water projects around the world.
Love it.
And as you donate towards these projects, you will get some of those deliverables that James is talking about. And you'll be able to take this back to your company
love
and
it.
develop the same type of culture that we're working on at Stormwater Pros.
So they can choose to get involved directly, or they can choose to get involved with you.
Yes.
And as a partner with you to help both these charities.
Yes.
I love it.
And I think one of the cool things that is on the horizon is that we're trying to come up with solutions that are being implemented here in America, like Brig and his team are already doing in developments, right? So part of the process of what they do here in America is when, large storms come in dry, arid areas, the water's filtered down into these big retaining wells,
Yeah.
but then it percolates out into the aquifers. Well, in Africa and Fiji and all these other countries, you have these really, really heavy, wet, rainy seasons.
Right.
And they have to store stuff in tanks, and then we got to put filters on the tanks because it sits for months
Yeah.
and gets bacteria. But if we can get the water back down in the well and keep those aquifers full and those wells
Interesting.
pumping clean water, I mean, we're solving huge problems.
Right.
Yeah.
That's coming. We're hoping we can make that happen. That's like part of our vision with this fund is to
Love it.
do great big things, right? That can really change.
But we can't do those big things without others' help.
Right.
We need others to help pitch in.
I love it. Well, that's a good invite. And I think that there's a lot of people willing to give. They just don't know where to go to give it.
Yeah.
So, Brig, is the invite to come talk to you? Is it to come talk to James? Is it both of you? Or they just bypass both and go to Lindsay?
I think the starting point is if you've got a relationship with Brig and his organization in some way, you come talk to him
Yes.
and let him help you
love it.
understand what the next steps are and how it's impacted his company and how it's impacted his employees. Brig then can also connect Rome Humanitarian and Water for Life Charity together to help that company develop a plan.
I love it. And for those of you watching this, I hope you understand that this is all in an effort to love and give to God's children. And God's children are everywhere on the earth, and there's need everywhere we live. But as you've heard, there is power and strength and joining together to help the lives, especially of the women in the world who are generally the most oppressed people in every culture. Help save them, help save lives, help bring them the things that they need to build and grow their families in a sustainable environment where they have the water, where they have safe places to walk and learn and grow.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Awesome.
thank you.
This is amazing, guys. And I really appreciate all of you taking the time to do this. And I really think that those hearing this, if you're not touched, if you're not inspired to make a call to action, there's something wrong with your culture. So get it right, man. Think outward.
Yeah. Thanks, Todd.
Make a
Thanks,
ripple
Todd.
effect.
Make a ripple effect. Come join us for sure.
Yes. Thank you, Todd.
Good.
My pleasure.